Why'd the skeleton cross the road, Andrew?
Why?
I don't remember, actually.
Press A to play.
Transplaining should be a podcast about
wow.
explaining trans
Yeah.
issues. I know that has nothing to do with anything, but like it was in my mind and I had to point it out.
It has everything to do with everything, actually. This episode is a transplanation episode.
And if someone were to correct us on the usage of the plural meese, they could cansplain it to us. So, you know.
Oh, snap. Cansplanation.
Yes, perfect.
Does that, if you become an ambassador for Canada, does that make you a can spreader?
A can spreader?
I made a pun!
You did, we're so proud. We're so proud.
I mean, it was not good, but it happened.
But it was your
Thank
first
you.
one. We're fans. We're fans.
Thank you.
Oh no.
Listen, I got a lull from the chat, so I feel validated. My puns exist. They exist in this world.
Oh no, Theo.
A nonchalant mirror selfie.
It's your boy Theo.
It's ya boy Theo. They should have spelled it ya boy, clearly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just transplaining how to Instagram.
Puns are meant to hurt a little bit, JP is saying.
I mean, he's right, though.
You gotta get the groan. I feel like the hallmark of a truly home run pun is when at least one person groans and leaves the room. Like, if you can really make that happen where they roll their eyes and they just have to leave, I think you have really nailed it.
That's the truth, though. That's very, very true. You have to, like, you know, if there's no pain to the pun, did you really pun?
Yeah. Are you even punning?
You know, to really enjoy puns, you have to be mildly masochistic.
I love them, though.
Exactly.
And I mean, to be honest, they don't just have to be word puns. Like, if I see, sometimes you see these like dad joke memes.
Oh my God, yeah. Why'd the skeleton cross the road, Andrew?
Why?
I don't remember, actually. I crossed two jokes together. There you go. Frank's face right now. Okay, I can do this. I can play.
You can tell we're running out of gas. We're getting desperate here.
Why'd the cow cross the road?
Why?
To go to the movies.
Oh, yes.
Why didn't the skeleton go to the party?
Why?
It had no body to go with.
Oh, poor skeleton.
When did the cow go to the party?
Why not?
I don't know, but I had to finish the joke circle from earlier.
Okay. You brought it back.
I had to, yeah.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
JP loves punishment.
Oh God.
I think we also love
He's a
punishment.
glutton for punishment.
He's
yeah.
a glutton for punishment.
I like how you used the Lucas quote to try to help me out here, but you were secretly like mocking me. I appreciate the cattiness. It's like, you know, very well done.
And any chance I get to use
That is an
quote
almost queer level of cattiness. Well done.
How does one define cattiness?
That's a good point.
What is a scale of 1 to 5 rars? It's like
a scale of 1 to 5 rars?
You must exceed 3.756 rars.
yeah,
That's right.
like you've got your tame little rar. That's
It's not really catty.
Rar. That's like okay. Now we're talking. Now we're raring.
Yeah. That's a good 3.9 on the catometer.
Oh, the catometer.
Yeah.
Cadometer.
The catometer. Sorry, I mean mispronouncing shit.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's like, it's throwing shade, right? Because like, if you just insult someone, then you've just insulted them. There's no elegance to that. You have to insult them in such a way that it takes them a second to understand that it's an insult, if they understand at all.
Basically, cattiness is like an insult with a double take.
Right,
Okay.
like it's an insult you have to like think about and internalize, you know?
It's like wait.
JP's asking
Exactly.
if we're using imperial or metric cat. I don't think this is a question.
This is a
As
good
a
question.
scientist, I have to advocate for metric cat.
Obviously, yeah.
But I mean, come on, are you really gonna measure in centicats when claws are an option?
Yes, we're gonna measure in centicats because
how many
there's
tails are in that
100
dog,
cats to a crap. What's the next unit of measurement of?
A lion. It's clearly 100 cats to a lion, followed, of course, by a jaguar.
I'm trying to somehow merge the word cat and meter, and my brain just won't let me do
The
it.
cadometer?
A keter, a catter.
Aren't we streaming this through an Elgato splitter?
An Elgato?
Perfect.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Oh wow.
There are puns in life we can't see.
Oh wow.
Frey can see puns like the Matrix.
That was a life pun. A beautiful life pun.
Puns everywhere. Puns of fun. Tons of pun. I like this shrine though. It's got a good.
It is an interesting
got a good
shrine,
vibe.
you know. I think this particular version of Cthulhu is interesting.
Cthulhu?
You know, this is eyeball Cthulhu. It's like if
yeah.
Cthulhu and a beholder from D&D had a baby.
Or
That's what it would
one
look
of the
like,
characters from Monsters Inc. got, you know,
Mike Wazowski got real.
real shit faced.
He saw some Eldritch Truths one day, and he was just never been the same since. I feel like my character's getting tired more quickly.
It is. I mean, Maddie's been busy today.
Yeah.
I've not seen Maddie take a nap or anything.
It has been a hell of a day for Maddie, I have to admit.
I'm very glad Maddie's got the strawberries because I don't know where else she's getting her calories. So I'm mildly concerned about her health is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, you know, a lot of us try to get real skinny to feminize, so, you know, she's probably not eating. It's fine.
We want her to eat a healthy number of calories, I think.
Well, yeah, I would agree, of course.
It'd be best though if the calories didn't consist solely of strawberries.
That's
yeah.
true. That's true.
But we're being healthy. They're fruits.
Gotta get her a nice, some soy protein, I think. You know what I mean?
You know, we
Good
were talking
break
about
of
tempeh earlier. With some nice fried tofu. Of course, if you die this many times and survive it, I don't know. Do you even need food anymore? Maybe Maddie is just beyond human at this point.
Maybe.
I mean, transhumanism is an actual thing, so. I mean,
How are you two feeling, by the way? It's been a 4.5 hour run.
what? Damn.
Well,
been that
including the
long.
breaks, but yeah. 4 hours and actually 4:20.
The weed
Blaze it.
number.
What number?
The weed number.
No, I'm just gonna beep this out. So
Blaze it.
420 blaze it. 420 blazer for our marketing jobs that we have to get back to in the morning.
no.
Oh shit, that's right.
420 blazer for our corporate capitalistic jobs we have to return to after complaining about capitalism.
I have to admit though, like over at my job, I can actually just seriously have like a Marxist wallpaper on my PC and just have like Richard Wolff monologues like over my speakers, and people just think it's cool. Like, I can get away with a lot of stuff over there. I'm like the sort of like the socialist mascot.
Which, you know,
It's not the best, but it does mean they at least get into contact with a lot of ideas and things they would normally not. So
I have to admit that I very much like Richard Wolff's interpretation of socialism, actually. So this idea of like co-op businesses more and more becoming the norm, and it's sort of growing out of there. Very much my mentality too. Oh, also like with what we're doing here, like this idea.
I think I think that the whole thing about him and co-ops is that one, it's a great way as like a transitional phase.
Yeah.
And also I think it's one of the best ways to get people on board who are pretty much impossible to get on board with stuff like revolution and everything. Like, yeah, that is the way to go, but that is not what's going to work for everyone. And you cannot only rely on those people who are willing to go all the way. You also just need the numbers. You need to sort of get people on board with anything that is moving away from capitalism. And I think co-ops are a great form of that, yeah.
yeah.
It's just a practical way of looking at it. And I think that is necessary.
That clicked with me right away. Because all the, whether we're talking about the non-profit space or the for-profit space, all the things that I'm starting up, they all have very much that mentality. They're all very sort of flat hierarchically, which I very much prefer.
Yeah.
Like they're all very collaborative, like cooperative endeavors. And honestly, it's just more freaking fun. You know what I mean? Like you're not in it alone. You're not making the decisions alone.
That's the thing, right? Companies back in the day used to not be about investors and profiting the company and using people like cogs. Companies back in the day were just a collection of people trying to make a living together.
Just a company of people. Like,
Exactly, like a literal company.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I think is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also not ultra-capitalist, right? Because that concept doesn't jive with this idea that we should be striving to make as much money as possible at all times.
And that's the whole thing about socialism in action as well, is that it's not about everybody being forced to do specific things according to the state, like full-time. That's not what it does. It's basically about how can we efficiently all contribute to society, and as in we're talking about infrastructure, and we're talking about education and healthcare, like the things we 100% need as a society, and everybody sort of, you know, chips in according to, you know, what they
Their
can.
ability, yeah.
Exactly, according to their ability. And then, you know, if you do that efficiently, if you do that well, if you all take care of the stuff we really do need, I can assure you there is a huge amount of time left in your week, as in we're not getting anywhere near like even a part-time job if you would just efficiently all work together on like water and gas and roads and healthcare and
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for people to forget that the reason we drive so hard for everyone to work all the time is not because it's actually necessary.
The most
because
horrifying
it's-
thing is that we have all these people working in the comic book industry and working in marketing and making random funny apps and all this kind of stuff that we don't need, while at the same time we're desperately looking for teachers and people in healthcare and like that's the thing. There's always work that needs to be done, but within capitalism it's not motivated, it's not stimulated. Because
I was gonna say, like, this is the real problem, though,
profit
right?
to-
I don't think
yeah.
the problem is that we have a lack of people willing to be
Exactly.
teachers or doctors. I think the problem is that we've purposely made it difficult to become one.
It's not incentivized at all because there's no profit to be made, and as soon as
Right,
that is-
and because there's no profit to be made, we've turned the position into a difficult one to hold, and this is the real
Academia
problem.
is becoming the same. So I'm in computer science academia. Yeah, there are a lot of very, very bright people that come through there, but when their options are suffer in academia, like continuously suffer forever, or at least make a few times that salary, you know, well, all right, I'm gonna make it easier for myself to retire. I'm gonna be suffering the same anyway. Make it easier for myself to retire then, you know?
yeah.
It's kind of tragic. JP, referencing Gene Roddenberry, I'm one of those idiotic idealists that I look at Star Trek a lot. I'm thinking, yeah.
I think we're on the way. You know, like, look, science fiction often becomes science fact later on. I think it inspires people, and those inspirations become reality at some point to some degree. I mean, 3D printers,
Yeah.
to the degree that they are now available, were not imagined back then.
To be fair though, like the internet hasn't made like the position of most working people better, and factories haven't made the position of most people working any better. Like most of the time I mean, at least within capitalism, like technological innovations have just mostly led to more profits, but not so much to a better world per se for people.
This is like purposeful on the part of capitalism.
Yeah, no, but that's
right?
my thing is like I don't see technology being the driving force behind that. Like the thing we're currently headed towards, which is the depressing thing, is that we would have the technologies of the Star Trek universe, but we wouldn't have the society of the Star Trek universe. So we have
I'm more of an optimist, and I think that we are headed in that direction because capitalism cannot hold when the means of production become decentralized, and the technology is actually just helping to decentralize the means of production. This is my feeling, right?
I'm on this boat, right? So my biggest projects, the things that actually take up most of
What
my
the fuck?
time.
I'm controlling this, guys.
That's pretty cool.
Guys, I'm a blob thing. I'm a Lovecraftian monster. What?
Kind of squiddy, right? You have a
Yeah,
bunch of
like-
legs.
Thwack.
Are you a Lovecraftian calamari?
I am a Macalimari, yes.
Calamari.
You're a calamari. Oh my god, I didn't even see it. My pun game is embarrassing. I made a pun unwittingly. I think that's the greatest slight. That's the greatest insult.
You must always weight your puns, Andrew.
That's right. I am no pun weakling. Did you just eat yourself?
Uh-huh. Wow. And somehow that solved the problem. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh gosh, I don't know how I feel about this.
Ow.
Ow. Damn it, Waddy, where are you going? Waddy.
She's sassy, Waddy.
She is. Waddy's got some real sass.
Oh.
Atta girl.
Oof. This place is a representation of Maddie's mental state.
Fight, Maddie, fight.
Aw.
Gosh, knowing the background of this game, it's so heavy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Holy cow. This dialogue especially.
Yeah.
I'm just Team Maddie all the way.
Burnout is real, man.
Atta girl.
Fuck yeah. We can do this. We've got this. We've got this.
I'm not sure we can do this. Look at that. Oh god.
So you're the Waddy in this scenario?
Oh, I totally.
I'm not sure if we can do this, guys. I don't know. Actually.
Oh, actually.
I mean, Callie's doing impressively so far, I would say.
As you say as I die. But yeah.
Yeah, I need to shut the F up. No, nobody needs to hear the cis het dude's opinion. Uh-oh.
I'm trying to preserve my dash for when I get across. 'Cause I think, I can do this. I got this. I got this. I got this. I've done much harder things than this. I can do this, damn it.
Is there any way to aim the balloon? Oh, did you just have it?
You can aim the balloon, but if I aim towards the spikes, it'll kill me. So there's only really one direction I can go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Look at you.
Gangster.
Boom. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
You were just that squid thing a moment ago.
Yeah, and it ate me, so.
Okay.
Oh, but I can knock it into these things. That's what it's for.
Ha.
Thanks for the bonus, jerk. Oh, I can get it to hit these things for me.
Oh, snap. You jumped on his face.
I did. I think these are just Dysphoria monsters. They do sometimes feel like they're gonna eat you alive. That's true.
Wow, you were... Yeah, I'm gonna shut up.
F you.
Bad.
Ugh. Okay, it's okay. I got this. I thought there was something up there. Okay.
Yo, this music too, super intense.
Yep.
Very Vangelis-esque.
Yeah? Actually, I see
This
that.
specific one.
So you can Super Mario jump on them, and I think
Yeah,
it's behind
you were totes owning them. Oh, they can't go through that thing.
Nope.
It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Let's get.
Oh.
It's okay. Got it this time.
So you just lied to us.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wow. I mean, if that's how it's gonna be. And
Wow.
I thought this was a safe space, Callie, but okay, sure.
Nice.
Oh, this is so intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting a little affected.
Nice.
Because you hate yourself sometimes, man. Well, society's internalized you to hate yourself is what happens.
You guys only hate yourself sometimes?
Right?
Oh.
Oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't type. Yeah, JP, it's in game. So JP said the same thing that I did. It sounds like an actual doorbell. It's so triggering.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Charlie Chaplin's speech at the end of The Great Dictator still makes me feel so hopeful, says the chat. Seeing what is happening with open source software makes me hopeful.
I was gonna say, like, a combination of the next generation and what is currently possible on the internet makes me very hopeful.
This is why I'm working so much on, yeah, like, the sort of open source collaborative science stuff. You know, because I think the more decentralized these sorts of things become, the greater our potential is. I have mixed feelings about Microsoft buying GitHub because it's such a central place for all that stuff, and Microsoft is a bit more friendly to developers than I think some of the other big tech companies, but still at the same time, it's...
They're motivated by
Still
profit,
Microsoft, yeah.
and anyone motivated by profit is gonna have the same kind of issues.
Yeah. So now I'm talking about making this knowledge platform of mine a federated platform. So like any university could just make one, and there's a central place for all the code. You know, so like the code is obviously is open source, but there's like a central sort of development team, development unit. But there's no central server, so any university can just make one.
That's pretty nifty, actually.
That one patch of spikes is mean as hell.
Cheeky bastards. Yeah, exactly. The whole ownership and business behind GitHub might just ruin it. So far, they've managed to keep it okay, but
don't need stops. Yeah, okay.
I mean, we're using OBS software. OBS software is it's open source and free.
That's right, and DaVinci is one of the best platforms for editing. Blender is one of the best for 3D modeling, rigging, and painting.
DaVinci has a premium option though.
Yeah, but a lot of them have a premium option. The important thing is that a lot of them are also freeware.
Yeah.
And this is what I mean, like decentralizing the sources of production or the means of production, right? We're seeing less and less centralization of the means of production and less barrier to entry in all kinds of fields and things. And I think that's overall a great thing that's gonna lead to massive change.
I'm gonna do that shit for science. It's gonna be rad as hell.
Close. But I think part of it is also an understanding that human beings are not cogs in a machine, right? And capitalism doesn't really account for this. It expects everyone to be the same. This is part of the problem.
Or to be one of the few that escapes the gravity somehow.
Right. And this is the problem. We sell everyone on the idea that you should care about millionaires because one day you might be one. But what if you're not? Right? What if you're one of the actually many people who are not? Then what? Fuck everybody else because you made it?
Yeah, I checked out the materials of, I don't even want to say the person's name, but like one of these, let's just say figures, you know, who is purporting to have a business course or whatever it is. And the kind of sort of opening lines, the central thesis was, you know, if you're in a capitalist society, you're a cog, and the only way to not be a cog is to be one of the few that manages to escape the gravity, so to speak. I think, what a depressing outlook for humanity, to have most of us be cogs in a machine.
This is exactly why I hate capitalism. It's exactly what the situation is, right? We call it human resources for a reason. We see humans as resources to be used.
Oh yeah.
Be used and exploited and then done with.
It keeps coming back to that capitalism malarkey, JP says. Also, if companies push their bullshit too much, people might rebel and start pirating. and then mentions Netflix, which
This is exactly what I'm. Yeah, this is another thing that I really like, right? So decentralizing the means of production and all of that, right? Everything is becoming decentralized. And that means that if at some point you become too much of a pain, there are alternatives to you. You can't have a monopoly anymore. Right? You become too much of a pain to deal with, okay, screw Photoshop, I'm going to GIMP.
Yeah.
You become too much of a pain to deal with, screw Netflix, I'm pirating.
Yeah.
There are options now, which means you can't have this nonsense capitalistic idea of a captive audience anymore. I mean, the whole point of capitalism is supposed to be that competition makes things better, and yet we preach that the way to win at capitalism is to force an audience to have no option but you. How is that competitive? How is that good for anyone?
It's good for business.
The only fear I have is that these kinds of positive developments are obviously just a part of the bigger picture, and right now we still have, even with all of those developments, we still have like the liberals like being the biggest party every single election over here in the Netherlands, and we still have the fear and warmongering regarding Ukraine, and we still have the vote we had last week in the US regarding the denouncing of socialism, and we still have all of these people getting voted into office time after time after time. So like all of those developments are great, but I'm not sure how much use they're like the positive effects, like the real positive outcome of those developments, that's gonna take a while, if at all, to actually witness them, because it's not like we're suddenly magically gonna get rid of the crazy popularity of all these right-wing conservative fascist populist
But
movements.
are they truly popular, or is the small number of people who are into them just extremely loud?
Well, the votes are also like a big factor. Like,
But
the liberals
again,
are
like
by far the
think
biggest
about
party.
the U.S. The U.S. is a lot more liberal than its government, right? But given the two options they have, they pick the more liberal one, which is still really conservative. Maybe that's the same issue here.
I hope.
We have like 17 parties in the parliament right now, I think, at least. Like, there's a lot of flavors and a lot of choices, and people still, like, if you look at the current parliament and you look at, like, the polls, like, the 3 or 4 biggest parties are all right-wing and conservative, for example. Like, it's crazy how much more popular right-wing conservative parties are in this country. It's, yeah.
I mean, I'm expecting the work that I do, that I will never see the fruits of it. What I'm hoping is that, I mean, I don't even think my design is actually going to work. The plan is to make it as open and as accessible as possible, because I really think that, at least in the specific arena that I'm playing in.
Did you just deadname Madeline?
Ah.
Oh.
So if he just deadnamed Madeline,
Theo's not
I
the
don't.
guy?
I was gonna say I'm not saying I don't think the problem is he's a bad guy. I think maybe the game is pointing out where this stuff is coming from. Like I think Madeline is just deep in a dark place right now. She doesn't feel like Madeline anymore. Oof. Yeah. See, like that felt like a really trans moment to me. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, you can, Maddie.
Well, you can do this, yes. At least that
Sorry.
part we know.
So, yeah. Sorry to interrupt the conversation about capitalism. Just wanted to talk about the game we're playing for a second. Yeah, no, I mean, look, change takes a long time. Societal change takes a long time. That having been said, the next generation is significantly more liberal than the generations that have come before it. Our generation has singularly failed to become more conservative as it's gotten older. And as a result, I have a great deal of faith that things will get better over time. Of course, all societal change takes time.
The thing, though, is that if you don't change enough within a short enough of time, then it's just easy to revert back, as in we saw that with the New Deal. Like, we had the New Deal, we had, like, the sort of, at least within capitalism, this notion that maybe we shouldn't just unleash it, and then because there weren't radical enough changes made to the system within that time, like 3-4 decades later, it was just back to, you know, capitalism gone wild. And that's kind of my fear, that if we don't make the radical changes within a short time, then we're just going to have like all these little things that are just easily reverted, which is exactly what we saw in the 70s and 80s. So that's kind of my fear, which is, again, what right-wing parties are amazing at right now. Like in the Netherlands, a lot of right-wing parties are flirting with just enough left-wing,
Ideas maybe.
yeah, and suggestions and policies and whatnot to sort of be able to stay in power while people are sort of pissed off about the system. And it's actually working in this country. They are getting away with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
weren't you guys just saying though that like you kind of have to be willing to take it slow because revolution isn't always gonna work, right? So I mean, even in politics, is that not the case? Because politics is driven by money, right? So if you want to make a change of that sort,
Can you make yourself jump higher by letting it go low and then making it shoot up? Is that a thing?
no, because it comes up with me. So like, I only get that far. Hang on.
Okay, that's a tricky one.
Red tentacle spikes.
What if I just died? Do you think that'll help? All right.
Give it a shot.
There we go.
Figured it out eventually. What did I figure out though? God. Okay.
Yeah, that's funny. Where do you go? Or is this just a spot for a bonus thing?
Up there. There it is. I tried to rush it. But yeah, I think politics follows money. The money is changing slowly, but it is changing. And I think in time we're going to see the changes we want, but it will take some time. And I am overall positive. I genuinely think that as much as things suck sometimes, and they do suck a lot, I think overall we're heading in a positive direction.
But like the money in the last couple of decades hasn't been moving in the right direction though. Like at all. Like
The last couple of decades? I don't know. I don't know if
if you look at the income, like the big divide, if you look at the bizarre, like unparalleled growth of the wealth of billionaires, just even in the last couple of years.
During
like,
the pandemic, that was
that's been-
crazy.
Well,
like,
okay, but during the pandemic was special
No,
circumstances.
but like if you look at the last 30 to 40 years, you will see that like production output has gone up with by 30 to 40% or something, while wages for like 95% of people have gone up only like a handful of percent. Like that's, if you look at the last couple of decades, profits have grown ridiculously hard while not being distributed among actual employees. So money has been
There's a lot
going in
to
the
the
wrong
right, Cal.
direction. Yeah.
There was a lock to the right.
There's a lock to the right. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose it's fair. At the same time, like the next generation is coming into their power years, right? And so at some point, that's going to make a big difference. I guess I'm also significantly more optimistic than you guys, but that's normal, I think.
I'm also optimistic. I have to say, one of the most encouraging experiences that I get to have somewhat regularly is working with students. And I gotta tell you, these, I would say 19, 20-ish year old kids, like in the computer science faculty, right? Like we basically propose projects, but they don't have to sign up for our project. They have many, many, many options. So I'm sitting here proposing all this like radical science stuff, and people are signing up. These kids are signing up. They get exactly what it is that I'm on about. I have to explain some of the details just because I've been in the game for a little bit longer, but I don't need to explain much. They get why it's important. They get what it is that sort of globally would have to happen, and the projects that I design are very sort of kind of open-ended. You know, they're told basically what the overall goal is, but they can pick specific things that they want to do. They pick things that are relevant, that are useful, and I have to do almost no work. It's like I don't even like calling in supervision because I'm barely doing anything. I talk to them every week and they're like, we did this now. Okay, now we did this. Like they totally get it. It requires no work or explanation on my part.
You know, maybe this is a good point. Yeah, that like maybe what I mean to say is that the way to live without necessarily subscribing to the capitalist machine has improved, right? We've seen the next generation give less and less of a crap about it. In the US, it's causing a crisis, which is really hilarious because people in the US are now finding they literally can't pay these kids enough to make them want to work. They just, because the wages are so low, they're literally just not bothering to work, so they have to hire higher wages just to get employees in the first place. And it's causing genuine change in the US to some degree. And so, you know, again, like I'm very much on the boat that you know, this is not going to happen within a lifetime or within a generation. At the same time, I have some hope now that I didn't used to before. And part of the reason is because you can do so much more without corporations being involved now than you used to be able to. You have so many options you didn't used to have. You have people who don't feel trapped by the system anymore. These are all huge advancements, at least in my opinion. And, you know, we'll see what that actually leads to.
Yeah, for me, it's more that if I look at stuff like, you know, the mentality among newer generations and everything, I mean, that sure does give me some hope, but it's more that if I look at stuff like healthcare, for example, in the Netherlands, that's only been in a downward trend for like the last 30 years at this point. If you look at stuff like education, same thing. If you look at our judicial systems, same thing. Like, if you look at the actual opportunities a lot of people have, that's just way worse than it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And also, like, this is gonna sound really nihilistic, but I honestly don't mean it like that. I also don't think of it as like this, like, doomsday, like, I don't mean it as like this sort of, it's not like I'm a big doomsday kind of a guy, but like, we're not that special. We're not that unique. There's nothing like, we don't have some sort of God-given, inalienable right to always keep on existing as a human race. I'm not saying that we're gonna, you know, I'm not saying we're gonna go extinct in a couple of decades or generations. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that there is, of course, the chance that the changes that need to be made by humanity as a whole to ensure the healthy persistence of humanity for, you know, another few millennia or whatever, like that, we're not going to be able to make those changes in time. That is a possibility. We're not perfect. We're not always capable of what we want or need. So, like, if you look at the way we've been responding to the climate crisis, if you look at the way that we are way too slow in seeing the dangers and effects of capitalism, like, mankind isn't all that quick on the uptake. Mankind isn't all that proactive, and like, that's not a, well, we're doomed so nothing matters, not at all. But it does mean that I don't think you have to per se believe that it is going to end up great. It also can mean that we can just try and work on the things that we can work on and not know what it's going to end up like in the end.
I feel like that's the only path forward. I feel like what means the most to me anyway is I pick a battle that I think I have a chance of maybe outside of my own lifetime winning, and just do my best to crank at it, because that way, even if humanity doesn't make it, I feel like I at least did my part. And this is what gives me all the motivation to put so many extra hours beyond my PhD into these projects.
It's like if you would sort of like downsize humanity to a human. It doesn't always have to be about, but how do we make sure this human keeps on living? Because no one's immortal. Humans aren't immortal. Humanity isn't immortal as a concept, as a you know, current. So it's about what are the things I can achieve within my lifetime? What are the things I can focus on and make better for me and people around me? So if you look at stuff like the strides we've made when it comes to queer rights and acceptance, if you look at women's rights, if you look at the steps we've made with representation in popular culture, if you look at it, there's a lot of things that, even though a huge part of the world is sort of blowing up in flames, I'm obviously well aware of the fact that there's a lot of things that are going in the right direction, and that's amazing to see, and that's the stuff I'm championing